We're going to have two panels. This is the first panel with three guests. The subject is going to be around entrepreneurship in the long run. In a sense, it's a bridge between what Fabien talked about from 0 to 10 people, and the second part that he will share with us later, from 10 to 100 and over. Here we have entrepreneurs who've been in businesses for some period of time. So we will see that entrepreneurship is not something that happens by magic in a year or two, like the stories that we read on TechCrunch, Instagram being sold for billions of dollars to Facebook in a matter of a year or two. That probably makes some young entrepreneurs dream, but it's also a disservice to entrepreneurs if they think that it's so easy. And we're going to explore what it is to be an entrepreneur over a longer period of time, what it takes. All right, so I'm going to introduce or ask my guests to introduce themselves. So we have a lady among us, Valérie. You want to introduce yourself?
Oui, bonjour, hi. So I'm leading a BI company and BI and analytics company in Belgium. So since 2014. And before, long time ago, I started as a BI consultant myself. And then I managed a company in Belgium for someone. And then I decided to start my own company and develop it. And now it's running well. So, yeah.
All right. So we have a woman in data. I mean, some people are saying we need more women in code. I totally agree with that. And here we have even, like, let's say, one notch above women in code. It's women in data and analytics. So we will get back to the story of your company. Philippe, you're a serial entrepreneur. You've done a couple of things. You want to introduce yourself and what you've been doing?
My name is Philippe. I had the chance in 2000 to join one friend creating his own company in the internet world. It was the gold season for internet at this time. And after a few months, this company was sold to another group here in Belgium. And then we started together a new company. The name was Euremis. And we created a project about CRM mobile on PDA. It's, if you remember, the Palm Pilot or something like that. And so we developed this company for 6 years. And we sold the company to Proximus. Then we have worked with Proximus for 2 years, then we left. We took a small break, and then we started a new company in 2010. It was MyShoppy. I don't know if you know MyShoppy. It's a product in the FMCG sector. And we developed this company for 3 years, then we sold it to Belgique Diffusion, another big group here in Belgium. We stayed with them for 3 years also, and now I'm free for 2 years. But I've invested in some other startups like WooClap or Smoothin, and I'm also part of B-Central. It's a digital initiative in Brussels.
All right. Well, a busy guy. Well, or he was a busy guy for a while.
Let's try.
Okay. Yves?
Yeah. My name is Yves Warnan. A few years ago, I invested in a plumber. So I decided, I come from, like Fabien, from the technology world, engineering, and I thought, yeah, I want an engineering company, super top, and I invested in a plumber. My business partner created that company 10 years ago, and we moved from one plumber to 180 people here in Belgium, and moved from plumbing to energy efficiency. And so now we really have 8 events around Belgium improving energy efficiency inside the homes. And we developed that company so that the energy companies like the big giants in energy were interested. And so we opened the capital, and now we have Luminous, so EDF, the EDF energy giant, who invested in our company. And so we are now part of the EDF group.
All right. So that's a different type of company, right? Joining an already existing company, turning into giving it a completely different entrepreneurial vibe and going much further and structuring it so it becomes attractive to a giant like EDF Luminous. That's an interesting part. You didn't mention, but you were also involved in the setting up another, well, that time a high-tech company in medical imaging.
So I co-founded Osimis. It's a company in the open source space for medical imaging.
Open source, yeah. Is there anyone in the room liking open source software? Right.
And so we exchange medical imaging between hospitals based on Hortank software that my co-founder created.
Okay. So thanks for those introductions. As you can see, we have quite a nice group that has gone through a lot of experience. We're gonna start asking some questions, and then we'll see if the public has some near the end. This is going to be like half an hour in all. Maybe I'd like to start off by reflecting on some remarks by Fabien on sales. Right, the sales is the growth engine. It's what makes or breaks your business. Fabien advised, hey, you shouldn't hire. You shouldn't hire a salesperson before you reach 100 million in sales. That's what his experience.
1 million.
Right? What
1 million.
Yeah.
100.
Oh yeah, 1 million. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah. Let's not get lost in numbers, right? So do you want to react compared to that? It's not just a matter of numbers, right? It was also a matter of customer knowledge and intimacy. Really?
I can say today I'm not at the million, so
yeah.
clearly.
Okay. So you do all the sales yourself?
I sell myself.
Okay.
So I learn also to sell, and I have someone who assists me to take a meeting and to contact the customer.
All right.
So it's not full time, but it's helped me as a subcontractor.
Okay. And do you see that running it yourself as getting you some customer intimacy and understanding their issues better and adjusting your offer and your product, or?
Yeah, I understand well their world, so I can put the light on what they want exactly. So that's my chance, and I can say, okay, we can help you on this, and we can imagine to do this. And
yeah, there are theories about entrepreneurship, which is really strange because entrepreneurship is probably one of the hard things to capture in entrepreneurship. And I'm giving a class to engineers on entrepreneurship in this university in Louvain. And my first course, I always tell them, entrepreneurship cannot be taught, but it can be learned. So you can, which is a nice way for me to kick the can out of the box and saying, hey, you can learn it. I can probably not teach it to you, but you can learn it. So maybe Philippe, do you want to react on that?
Yes, about sales. Yes.
Yeah, about the sales, and what I was going to say is one theory, one of those few entrepreneurship theory is the CEO or one of the key founders needs to be a sales guy, really a sales guy. So how would you react?
But in my case, it was the case. So in the 3 companies, I was in charge of the sales, and I had a partner who was in charge of the technical part of developments. And I think before hiring somebody to help you for sales, it's very important to sell yourself, to understand the market, to go to the clients, prospect, and so on. And as soon as you have a good idea about the needs and if the product is really answering these needs, then you can decide which kind of price list you will create. You will test that. It's an iterative process to find the right price. And when you have a right price list, I think at this time it's possible to hire somebody else. Because it's very difficult for a new sales guy to come in a company if the sales process is not really defined. Yeah. He will be lost. He will try some different steps to do sales. He will come back and you will say, no, it's not the good solution. You have to change your mind and so on. So it's better to do it yourself first. And then when it works, hire somebody else. So I had one of the company, I had 5 people on the street, but I was not at the same level as Odoo today. So.
All right.
A few examples. So at our site for the open source company, it's complex. So you need to have the CEO going to for the different hospitals to understand the needs, and so to understand the business, and so that we can start to offer our solution. At the Dovister side, so for energy efficiency, we have B2C and B2B. And so B2B definitely is still the best way today to sell. It's both of us, so the business partner, the two CEOs, to go and meet the customer. Also because we can fine-tune the offer directly, and also we can better understand the market. For B2C, we did it also. We started by ourselves to sell. Also, we figured out that there was an interest at the time for solar panels next to boilers and heating as usual. We thought that, okay, there's an opportunity there, and based on that, we developed a completely new branch of the company, thanks to this insight we had from the field. So definitely it's super important to be there yourself, and what we still try to do now is that from time to time, we still sell, so that we can still be connected to the market.
All right. Okay. Yeah, it's also, it recoups with my experience as well. If you hire pure sales guy, people who have been pure sales for 10 years, they have a hard time understanding in early phases the adjustment that is needed to attain a product market fit. Another point that Fabien talked about was cash, right? There's a saying that goes, cash is more important than your mother in a startup, and so the relationship to cash and how there are hard times, or maybe none of you had hard times, but I would doubt, because it's well known in the startup world that it's very much a roller coaster ride. At times you're very happy because you just sign a customer, and then the next week there's a distributor that leaves, and things like that. Do you have stories on how to approach the relationship to cash, and how important it is, and how to get through sometimes? Like Fabien said, from no cash to bankruptcy, there's still 2 years, which seems to extend some magic runway.
One thing I have to say
let's hear Yves first, because he didn't mention it, but he's also an MBA from INSEAD, so he probably knows about finance.
I should, maybe. When I arrived at Dovister, so the first day the company was seized by the bankers. Not because the company had lost money the year before, and it was not a problem of cash, but it was a perception of the bankers that the company would be in troubles in the coming months, and so they completely seized the company. And when I arrived, I really spent some time to make sure that everybody understood each other, that they understood that there was a plan, that we were meeting the goals, etc. Especially because my business partner has all his belongings linked to the company, and so he could lose everything. And so we start discussing with the banks, and after 2 years, we could remove all the personal guarantees from him. So it was a great relief for him after 2 years, and he could go on holidays after 10 years, not going to holidays. What I have to say, so in terms of cash, we really spend a lot of time with our bankers at the Dovister side, so that they understand our needs, that they can be creative, and we meet them and we ask them to be creative with us. And sometimes we have innovative ideas, like for solar panels, the customer didn't want to pay, so we create an investment fund with the bankers. We only put 20% of equity, the bankers put 80% of debt. We create a fund, and so we could invest on the customer side. So it was money from the bankers, but in a creative way. And we always try to find solutions like that, so that the company can grow, but with a creative solution for that side. Yeah.
All right. Philippe?
Yes. We always try...
We always had plenty of cash.
No, that's not the case. But we always manage to start with enough cash at the beginning of the company to be able to have 1 year or 1.5 years cash with us before needing to have extra money from the market. And that's a good period when you can try to create your MVP, to find your first clients and so on. And as soon as you have an MVP as soon as you have first clients paying for the product, then it's feasible and it's the right moment to go to the market to find cash. So it's what we did. After 1 or 2 years, we found investment funds or something like that. And then you can come with a valuable company, and you are not totally beaten by those guys. So it's very important to manage the growth of the first part with your own cash if it's possible.
Right. Yeah.
And the business angels and also can come a bit later. That's my opinion.
Yeah. That also becomes my view from an investor point of view now. It's whatever the entrepreneur is telling you, it always takes longer. It will always take longer. So if he expects some cash or to be break even after 8 months, I always redo the assumption, saying, oh, maybe it's going to be double that, like 16 months, and let's see how the business model reacts if we stretch the length and things like that. And I recall when we met in the early days of Agilis, my Shopian, you said, we don't know you had no idea about the business model. You knew that you were building something that would be useful to people. You didn't know whether you would sell it to advertisers or retail stores, and in the end it ended up being on coupons. So also the way to make money evolves over time and evolves over with your perception of the customer and things like that, right?
At the beginning, you never know exactly what you will do. And it's based on the market feedback that you receive that the product is really going in one direction or another. For example, the first company I created, we decided at the beginning to be active in 3 sectors, was insurance, healthcare, and transport. And we decided to not do a CRM because at this time there were a lot of new projects about CRM in Belgium. And at the end, we did a CRM in the FMCG, so another sector. So you never know what you do.
Yep. Also, one lesson is don't drink your own Kool-Aid. I see young entrepreneurs saying, "Oh, this is our product, and we will have revenue 3 months from now." And that is very often a bit too optimistic. It takes longer, and if you have not the means to afford a longer runway to find and to have that adjustment, it becomes dangerous. Valérie, you want to react on the cash?
On the cash, yeah. It's not the same business model as we sell services and projects.
Right.
So
it should be a bit easier.
Yeah.
So you have no problem
should
with
be,
cash.
but the fear is to have people on the bench.
Right.
So that's why also we need to have cash to pay people and think about some internal project. And we have several internal projects to develop some specific tools in the company. And that's why also we need to have cash.
Okay, a related topic related to that is, when times are not looking good, how do you push through? I mean, this is not a technical question; it's more of a human skills or character. I don't know. How do you find the resource to go through?
Sport.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's not singing, but sport, yes.
Good advice. I think we should say that more.
Sport,
because
it's okay.
Yeah.
And now, every day, I mean, when you are entrepreneur, it's difficult every day. But it's beautiful also every day. Because
that's very nice. We're going to frame it, I think. We can attribute it to you. It's hard every day, but it's beautiful every day.
Yeah, anyway, each time you have fear, you have disappointment, but each time you have beautiful success and small things, and it's the life of an entrepreneur.
All right. Is it for everyone? I mean, if I see now many people, entrepreneurship has become very fashionable in the past 10 or 20 years. It's probably very good, but is everyone made out to be an entrepreneur, or what does it take? Or if you want to illustrate from what it took you to go through some. What was your worst day? Well, you already told it. I mean, no, but well, no. Your first day was your worst day, actually. Yeah. What you said.
Indeed, huh?
Company is gone.
Yeah, so you see all the bankers. They say, "Okay, you have a problem." Say, "Hello, I'm new."
Welcome to the job.
Indeed.
How do you push through? How do you manage to go through
several points. Once I know that all the solutions are in my team, so I spend a lot of time in my team, meaning that currently I have no meeting room anymore, no office for myself. I take my computer and I sit next to my guys and I move, guys and girls, and then I move all the time. So that I'm next to them and I feel how it's going, the market is moving, etc. And so you know where the heat is and where you can help.
Yeah, it's
and
good.
Yeah, and
It's good in a plumber and
plumbing.
heating company. All right. Okay.
So that's one point. The second point is that we are two, and I think when you create your company, being with business partners is really useful because you can exchange. So for my business partner, when he's super low, I'm medium, and it's great because we average. And when he's super high, it's great because I'm medium, and then we can average. And so the ups and downs are more easily managed when you're two and two or more.
Okay. Philippe, we have 5 more minutes, so we're going to wrap up. I'll take only 1 or 2 questions. Philippe?
Yes. What's important in a startup is that the difference between success and failure is so small. So it's a small contract coming at the right time, a small funding from somebody else. And so it's true that in the first years you have a lot of fear to fail. But if you believe in the product and if you see that there is really a match with the market, you can always have the faith to go further and to succeed. And as you say, it's very important for me. I cannot do a business alone, so I always partners. And it's true that if you choose the right partners, you will be in phase. Sometimes he's very motivated. You are a bit disappointed. And the next day it's in the other way. And so together you can always find a solution. And it's very important to have a good team also. So you have to be to believe in your product. That's the first thing.
All right. I'm going to take a couple of questions for those. So I think they've shared a good slice of their experience. You want to ask a question?
I have a question for you. So you said you make several companies and then I think
You want to take the mic, so because you're live on the internet, right? Hello, internet.
Okay, so I have one question for you. You told that you make several companies and you sold them. Yes. But I'm wondering because I have a startup and right now I'm more like the founder of Odoo. I'm thinking about it all the time and I cannot imagine that one day I'm going to sell it. So I'm wondering if you were passionate and then you just change your mind or change what you want to do, or if you had the idea at the beginning to sell it. Because I'm thinking about other business that I could make and just plan to sell, but not with my first company or my passion. So I'm wondering.
Okay. I think it's not a goal to sell the company at the beginning, that's for sure. But I know myself and I know that the more exciting part of the business for me is to start, to find the product, to define a product together with my partner and other people in the team, to define the business model, to try to find the first client, to hire the first sales guy. When I have 5 or 10 sales guys, I'm not so motivated, and I prefer to start something else. So that's my way of working, but there are a lot of different ways of working. And I'm also sure that I'm not the right guy to go from 30 people to 100 people. All those management of people is not my cup of tea, so I would say.
So maybe your passion is just to create, not to...
Yes, I like to do that, and now I'm involved in other companies, on other startups at the beginning phase, and I find that very exciting.
Yeah, it's true. It takes different skill sets to grow from 1 to 10 and from 10 to 100. We will see that after the second panel with Fabien again. Another question and one last question.
Yeah, do you follow the same strategy on every single startup you are doing?
Same strategy?
Yes.
No.
Well,
no. Every company is different. So the first one was...
And everyone ends up differently than what you initially thought. So it's basically, yes. From what I can tell, is that they basically have very little strategy to start with. But it works.
No, we started always with the technology. So the first one was the internet. And so we decided, my partner, because he started before I came, they found that internet was a nice technology It was a good idea, I think, 20 years ago. And then they founded the company to develop something on internet. In 2002, it was on the mobile PDA. So we thought this technology and we said, okay, we can do something in the business with that, but we didn't have any idea about what, and we did a CRM. And then the third one was about the smartphone. So we always started with the technology and to find how can we use this technology in the business to solve one problem, one pain, and then we try to find the right clients and the right product.
Okay, so there's no kind of blueprint you are following management-wise? Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me, I didn't...
A kind of blueprint or something, a kind of style you have made your own on a management style?
Yes, so we created, I had always one or two partners. We create the company, we define in which direction we want to go. It's not always easy to find. And then we try to have a first client. We test with the client, and then we develop the product based on that. The first part is often service, because you don't have a product at the beginning. So you try to give a service to a company, and then we try to productize the service to have a leverage afterwards. That's the...
Okay. I think we're at the end of the timing for this panel, so I think you're going to help me giving a warm applause to our three panelists of today. Thanks for sharing their experience. And as you can see, it's also a saying by Fabien, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. I think those panelists try to convey that idea that indeed, launching a startup is not something that is going to happen, that is going to be successful in 1 or 2 years. It's going to take longer, and you'll have to go through many stages of development.